Hello, boys and girls. I am just a video making machine, aren't I? That's just one of the many, many benefits to not having a social life whatsoever, which I think most of us don't really have in the corona age, but that's okay, because early adopters like me were ready for it. And speaking of which, look at that. We got a few packages that came in. Oh boy. What do we have? What do we have? Let's find out. We got something from overseas. Actually, I think there's a lot of overseas things. Okay, it says UK, so yeah, UK. I sometimes I have a hard time figuring out where it's from at first, because like Canada is relatively easy because they tell you right off the bat like which province and everything. The UK ones, sometimes the customs declaration and things like that, sometimes it's not as readily visible where everything's from, and it's just the way that everything's designed, so that's kind of why. Oh, good, look at that. This actually came in good time. It's the Superman anthology. This is actually the region-free UK version. So yeah, that would have come from Amazon.co.uk. And I specifically got the the British region-free version of this set because one, I wanted to make sure I had this back in the collection, number one, but also number two, on a podcast that I'm going to be on next week. We're going to be talking about superhero films, which, of course, superheroes are a lifelong love of mine. I liked them before there were massive interconnected cinematic universes. Thank you very much, so I'm not a poser. But the Superman series here, it's got everything in the Christopher Reeve slash Brandon Routh universe, and including the not director's cut. Well, actually, yes, the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, but also the extended 3-hour cut of the first one. And that is actually what we're going to be talking about, so just for reference, it's on Inside Movies Galore / Delusions of Grandeur, and because that's like a pre-show, and then the main show, the main show is Inside Movies Galore. The one that I chose for Superhero Month, I chose Superman the movie, the original 1978 film, and then I also chose Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, because those just go so well together, don't they, in terms of quality. But I have actually never watched the 3-hour cut of Superman, and so I'm very, very curious to check it out. And as you can see, you've got the UK rating system, you've got Spanish on there, you've got the German rating system, so you can definitely tell this is meant to be region free. Because a lot of those like Warner Brothers UK releases, they are meant to be consumed by people across different European countries, so that's why you have that as that looks. So the second disc in this set is the extended cut, so very curious to see what all that contains, because I've never actually seen the extended cut. I have seen the original Superman 2, I say original, but it was the Superman 2 that Richard Donner shot most of, and then he got shit canned because of conflicts with the Salkinds, and then Richard Lester was hired to basically reshoot the movie, and that's the version that came out in theaters, and people liked it for what it was, but the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, which is incomplete and it's imperfect, just given what all can be done with it, but on the whole, it is so much better than the theatrical cut. And I've actually never seen Superman 3 and 4, not that I'm looking forward to that with any kind of anticipation, but and then Superman Returns, which I remember seeing in the theater, and for the lack of a Superman movie in like 19 years, it was definitely a return to the Donner universe. And sorry, I have some tea off camera here because it's not quite the drink of unboxing champions, but it's got enough caffeine to keep me going. At that time, it seemed like it was an attempt to remind the post 9/11 audience of why Superman's important. It didn't completely work. There were definitely some things about it that needed improvement, but on the whole, I think for that kind of for what it was trying to be, I think it was pretty good. I would have loved to have seen Tim Burton's Superman Lives with Nicolas Cage. I really would have loved to have seen that. And I really, really enjoyed Man of Steel. I like that darker take on Superman. I'm not someone who only has to have a character be one way. I like seeing characters get interpreted multiple ways and seeing different sides of a character emphasized. So that's why I'm okay with all those different versions. And also, in terms of special features, you got some great documentaries here. You have like multi-part documentary about the various films. You got the amazing Look Up in the Sky, the amazing story of Superman. You have all of the Max Fleischer cartoons. You have some rarities like the Adventures of Super Pup. You know, this is a kind of this is a old release, admittedly. But nonetheless, it's oh yeah, and you got Superman and the Mole Men, which is pretty cool, with George Reeves before the Superman, the Adventures of Superman TV show. But yeah, you got all of the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons on here. And am I mistaken? I wanted to say that the Kirk Alyn series might have been on here. I could be wrong about that. If not, then the Kirk Alyn theatrical serials, I know that those are released separately, and if that's the case, then I'll have to pick those up. But yeah, Superman set, great, awesome. Glad to have finally gotten it in time so I can watch it for the podcast. And we got Comac, New York. Oh boy. Sounds kind of like Kojak and the Mac, if you were to like blend them together into one character. Yeah, it's amazing all these different place names that you find out about. Okay, good. And look at that. It's a place called Mr. Cheapo CD and Record Exchange, which I assume is it's in Comac, New York, and Mineola, New York. So, yeah, anybody that's in those areas, there you go. There's your little advertisement for you. What did I order from Mr. Cheapo? Well, I ordered Damage, the Steve Austin film, and this is the UK version. It is region B, so it's not region free, but I ordered it because I remembered I used to have this movie. It was like a $2.99 pickup at Manifest Discs, which is affiliated with FYE, and so it was like super, super cheap, and it's, I believe, shot primarily in Canada. It's got Laura Vandervoort, one of the luminaries of Canadian, television, and overlapping heavily with American television. And, it's got Sam Rockwell, and it's got, one of Steve Austin's better theatrical performances. He didn't seem like he had quite the cinematic career of someone like Hulk Hogan, or especially The Rock. The Rock, of course, massive superstar in the movies, and John Cena is rapidly catching up. But yeah, Steve Austin has had some movies that have been kind of underground, more or less. Not quite superstar status, even though he was the superstar for his time in WWE. And I'm not sure. Maybe it could be due to his neck injury, could be due to just not getting the right roles or not really prioritizing that. Movies kind of are their own showbiz game in a different way than wrestling, admittedly. And yeah, last up, where is this from? The Netherlands. Oh boy. I hope that this is what I think it is. I'm not sure, though. Because if it is what I think it is, yes, it is. Whew, good. Okay, I was afraid that this got lost in the mail or something. I was about to try and get a refund on it. But it was another Lou Simon film, Hazmat. And this is the Blu-ray of it. And I thought this was a German release, but it might not be because of where it came from. From Coach Media. And, because, it came from the Netherlands, so it could be from there. As far as the release of it, but the point is, it was a Blu-ray release of a film that can more readily be found on DVD, and I will make sure to, oh, you know what? I think it's actually an Italian DVD, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. It's it's well, it says language Italian, but I know for a fact it's an English language film. But anyway, it's a Blu-ray of Hazmat, which was one of Lou Simon's earlier works. I think it was still holds up as one of her best. I think her best is 3, also known as 3 An Eye for an Eye. But this one is one of her better ones, I think. And it's largely because, well, it fits more into the slasher mold, and so it has enough. Like the killer in here does the Michael Myers head turn, and I talked to her specifically, and she said that it was that it was a deliberate homage to Michael Myers, and yeah, it says language Italiano, menu Italiano, but I'm sure that there's English on here as well. There has to be, because it is an English language film. If for some reason it's not, then I'll return it. But nonetheless, definitely recommend checking this out on DVD or on streaming or whatever. I'll provide a link to it in the description. So yeah, kind of a smallish haul today. But yeah, just wanted to plug Lou Simon there. Wanted to plug the podcast I'll be on. And yeah, so hopefully you found that interesting. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, set phasers to stun. Warp Factor 5. I will see you in the next unboxing. There is going to be some more stuff on the way, of course, and I'm just going to continue with my delicious black tea. So hopefully you're keeping safe out there.